Yeah, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, you are for the Women's Rights and Health Project,
WRAHP.
WRAHP.
Yes.
May we get to know your name and then your designation?
Okay. My name is Norma Izuma. I am Center Assistant at Ireti Resource Center. I work with Women's Rights and Health Project, WRAHP. We are managers of Ireti Resource Center.
That's good. Right. At this event, one of the first things I've noticed is the presence of far more women than men. Meanwhile, the issues discussed here today, majority of them also are issues that have to be communicated to men. What is WRAHP doing about getting more men into the system?
Okay, so this was actually intentional. Having more women here was actually intentional because, especially, we're talking about child's rights law.
Right.
So we intended here to speak directly to the women. Now, since January of 2020, we've held series of town hall meetings and engagement with members of the community, where we have discussed human rights and sexual and gender-based violence. And in most of all those gatherings, we had, because our organization is for equity and equality, it's what we push for. So we had equal attendance of both male and female, which we ensured that there was equal representation of both men and women at our town hall meetings. But here, this was actually intentional.
Oh, that's great. I congratulate you for making certain references during your chat, during your talk here. In a lot of fora that you go to, what you will discover is that most of the things that are mentioned in women fora are to do with the faults of men, sidetracking those of women. And today, because I've had opportunities of working closely with the Ministry of Women Affairs, I had to tell them that what are you doing about situations of abuse that is getting so highly, is getting escalated. Woman to man abuse is getting very high. What is your organization doing about this?
Well, statistics shows that 1 in 5 girls and women have experienced physical violence. Women are actually more vulnerable to domestic violence and sexual abuse. But having said that, we all know that in a relationship involves more than one person, it involves two people. So in addressing issues of domestic violence and sexual abuse, we try to speak to members of the community about issues that affect both men and women equally. So we address the matters equally. Now, we are Women's Rights and Health Project. We advocate for the rights and health of women, girls, and young girls, and members of the community. Now, if you read our goal, it says women, young girls, and members of the community. But it does not in any way extract the men from this conversation. They make up the whole. So in our conversations, it is very, very inclusive. Women, men, young girls, members of the community, we ensure that everybody is equally involved in our conversations.
Very good. Are you aware or have you had an experience whereby a woman, knowing fully well that there are women's rights groups in existence now, does something bad or negative to your husband and runs down to women's rights group to lodge a complaint,
yes,
knowing fully well that they will support her and she's the one that has done wrong? Have you seen situations like this?
Okay, I cannot speak for all women's rights groups, but I can speak for Women's Rights and Health Project, WRAHP. There is something we are sure to do, regardless of who walks into our offices first, if it's the man or if it's the woman. When we take your case, we are certainly, definitely going to call the other party. we do not mediate. In fact, there is no mediation when the other party is not involved. So what we do is to listen to both parties equally, and resolution is for both parties equally. The goal is to ensure that both parties are happy. If you have satisfied one person and you do not satisfy the other person, then you have failed to solve the problem that is going on in that family. It means that you have done absolutely nothing. So we do not take cases from one angle. We listen to both parties. We listen to the woman, we listen to the man, we listen to their issues, and we do our best to mediate.
Right. Very good. The Women's Rights and Health Project, by its name, involves women's health and rights. What are you doing in the area of health for women?
Well, the reason why you're hearing rights right now is because this particular project is about increasing access to justice-related social services. It means that we're working based on the rights on this project. Yes, but in the past, 2 years ago or so, we had funding for, we've had breast cancer screening, we've had malaria, tuberculosis, and I've forgotten what that other thing is called. So we've had various of interventions on health. We got funding from Chevron. We provided Atikorodu, where we provided members of the communities with mosquito nets. We did testing. We carried out free testing for malaria, AIDS, HIV. We work based on health as well. But like I said, why you're hearing rights is because right now we're working on increasing access to justice-related social services. So that's based on the rights aspects of our organization.
Okay, so what you're saying in essence now is that the activity here basically today is about the women's rights, not inclusive of the health.
Yes, but nonetheless, we also speak, this gathering is also talking to women's reproductive health. Women's rights to say, okay, I've had 3 children, I want to have only one child, making the families understand that it is her rights as well as it concerns her health, the number of children a woman wants to have. So there is none of our conversations really that focuses on one thing and relegates the other. We try to ensure that both we advocate for the rights and health of women and communities.
Now, while appreciating, even by speaking with you, that the rights of women and children are more cogent. Those are the two more vulnerable sets of human beings relative to men. Yes, I can understand very well. That. Now, what are those things you're doing in association with are there any things you're doing in association with the Lagos State Ministry of Women Affairs, for instance?
We're registered with WRAHP. In fact, we just came out of a Zoom meeting with WRAHP, Action Aid, and a lot of other funders. I don't remember DS, but when we're registered with WRAHP, we work with WRAHP, and so we're registered. We cannot work in isolation. So we work with a lot of government agencies. So we are working with WRAHP. Yes.
So where do you think that WRAHP wants to take women's rights and health project to the next few years?
We want a society where men are advocating for women's rights as much as women are advocating for women's rights. And not just a society where we do not want a patriarchal society. And even if it's going to patriarchal, it should be that the men are in their positions advocating for the rights of women. We want a society of gender balance, where everybody is treated fairly and equally, regardless of their gender, sex, race, and cultural beliefs or association.
Very good. You said you were working for men to appreciate the rights of women.
Yes.
Would you one day, after achieving this aim, would you one day start working or making women too start working towards appreciating further rights for men?
No, the truth of the matter is, men have never really had to advocate their rights because society has always given it to them. They have never had to struggle for their rights. Unlike us women, where we've always had to step up requesting. So we want a society where the woman is not going cap in hand, where the woman is walking into the room boldly, and the men are standing up and giving her a standing ovation. Why? Because it's her due. When she's not coming into the room kneeling down and requesting, but when she's walking boldly as the men would, an equal society for men and women likewise is what we're advocating.